we'll get started then for the people who are in listening, and we'll get moving forward. And this webinar is being recorded, so this will be on our Higher Fresno State YouTube channel, or you can go to our Career Development Center website and view it a couple days from now if you have some additional information or content you want to review that's presented today. So hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Adrian Ramirez. I am the Associate Director of the Career Development Center, and I'm also the Interim Coordinator for the Money Management Center. And I'm here today with our great community partner. His name is Mike Jones, and he's from the Educational Employees Credit Union. And he is talking today about fraud and the prevention of fraud. So let's open the floor for Mike. And for those of you listening, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat. I'll take a look at them and I'll chime in during Mike's presentation and interject any of the questions that you might have. So that way, you don't have to wait till the end. So thank you, Mike, for being here. Appreciate you again. Thank you.
My pleasure. Good to be here. Good afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Make sure all the right buttons are pushed, and here we go. Okay, so today we're going to talk about financial fraud. We don't want you to be a victim, so that's what today is all about. Let's start off with some of the stats. And these stats are from the beginning of COVID through about 1 month ago. So there were 4.8 million reports of financial fraud. And let me rephrase this. This is just for this last year, financial fraud. And I have one a little bit later. I'm going to show you about COVID itself. So 4.8 million reports of financial fraud, and people lost $3.4 billion last year to financial fraud. We don't want you to be the victim. And when you think about financial fraud, there are all sorts of words and topics and things that you might consider, and how do they get to you, and so this is what's called a thought bubble. And the bigger the word, the more often it has been mentioned. So you're looking at this and you're like, yeah, I've thought of that and that. And it's like, well, that's a new thought to me. So there's a variety of things that we're going to talk about today. I'd like to start off with a video that we call Fast No and Slow Yes. And then we're going to come back and chat about that.
It may come as no surprise that when the economy is in decline, fraud is on the rise.
You have people who have been successful for the last 10 years, so they got a little something put away. Now, they took their expense account, they cut their overtime, so now they're looking to increase their earning potential. Business opportunities can boom in a recession and in a downturn of the economy.
Nobody in business is going to give you your money back if your business fails.
You never saw me in your life. You saw a commercial on TV, you got on the phone with me, you spoke to me for 10 seconds, I gave you some names to call, and I gave you some things to look up, and you called me back 3 days later, and you wrote me a check for $50,000. Does that sound a little screwed up?
People want to believe that there is some opportunity that they can invest in that will guarantee that they will have financial success. There is no such thing. There just is no sure deal. None.
The best advice I could give to anybody who's looking to purchase a business opportunity or purchase any investment over the phone is fast no's and slow yeses. Period, the end. Fast no's and slow yeses.
Okay, so excellent. Now this is put out by the Federal Trade Commission, and it's really good information. Now he was talking about over the phone, and he was talking about a large sum of money, but whether it's over the phone, over the internet, email, or in person, whether it's a large amount of money or a smaller, more reasonable amount of money, be very fast to say no, be very slow to say yes. We want you to have time to consider whether or not somebody is trying to pull one over on you. So if they say it's a now or never deal, my personal policy is now or never deals, or never, thank you very much. So you want time to think and time to investigate whether this is a legitimate deal. So our objective today is to create an awareness of financial fraud and how to protect yourself. So that's our objective. And the topics for today is we're going to talk about pyramid schemes. We're going to talk about identity theft, telemarketing scams, and family emergency scams. Now, there's a lot more scams out there than just these that we're mentioning today. but these are some very big name, common ones that we come across with all sorts of variations. So these are good ones to tackle today. So let's start off with a pyramid scheme. It's also called a Ponzi scheme. And so this guy that you see on the left of your screen, he is the scammer. He's the crook, the thief. And he's going to talk to these two people and convince them that they need to invest money in his business. And he's, in theory, going to take that money and he is going to use it to make a profit, and then they're going to get like a huge amount of return. Maybe they're going to like double their money in 6 months is what he's offering. And so that's what the offer is. Well, what really happens is he finds a bigger group of people and he convinces them of the same thing, and they send him the money, and he's supposed to go work that in his business so that he makes more money to pay them a big return. But what he does with that money instead is he pays the first two. Like, okay, so as far as they know, this is working. They paid money and they got double their money. Okay, so you see where this is going, right? There has to be a bigger group of people that give even more money to go to the second group. And so far, we have all sorts of people that it's working. As far as they're concerned, they're happy, they've invested money, they've gotten double their money back. This is a fantastic thing for them. And they go tell their friends, their family, their coworkers, their neighbors. So you can see why it's called a pyramid scheme, because the pyramid has to get bigger and bigger and bigger for this to work. All of these people have to send their money over, but when the money gets big enough, the money and the scammer disappear. So pyramid schemes, you've got to be careful. Anything that is going to sound like it's too good to be true, like you're going to double your money in 6 months, or even you're going to get 50% return within a year. I mean, those are just huge returns. You need to really investigate to make sure this is legitimate business. Going to turn now to telemarketing scam. And again, we're going to look at a little video vignette, and then we'll chat about it.
Telemarketing fraud is a crime that affects millions of Americans every year. It usually starts with a phone call.
Hello? Good evening, Mr. Jones. We wanted to call today to thank you for being such a good customer. And to reward you for your loyalty, we'd like to send you several valuable free gifts.
Well, that sounds good.
Now, in order to do this, we just want to verify some of the information.
They were just so friendly. I didn't know they were trying to rip me off. Then I got my credit card statement. Those free gifts, they weren't free at all. Now I know better.
Sir, all you have to do is confirm the first few numbers on your bank account. It ends in 1234.
I don't think so. My bank account number's my business, not yours.
Telemarketing scammers are good at what they do. They'll say anything and target anyone to commit fraud.
Hello. Congratulations, Miss Smith. Your name was recently drawn as a winner in the Pan Pacific Lottery. You could collect $2 million.
I didn't think that I had entered the lottery. I filled out a couple of forms at the mall, but I didn't realize that the calls that I've been getting were connected to those forms. I'm not going to fall for that twice.
Mrs. Smith, because this is a foreign lottery, there are a few processing fees that need to be taken care of. If you send me $3,000, you can collect your winnings.
Oh, I don't think so. Goodbye.
The Federal Trade Commission and your state attorney general are working hard to stop telemarketing fraud. You can help. Recognize, report, register. First, learn to recognize the signs of telemarketing fraud, like callers who ask for money first, or who want to know your bank account, credit card, or social security number. Scammers may even have your billing information before they call you. Often, they're trying to get you to say okay so they can claim you approved a charge. Second, if you have been scammed, or you think someone is trying to scam you, report it to the Federal Trade Commission. It's as easy as going to ftc.gov and clicking on the link on the right. It's more helpful to the FTC if you can give the name or phone number of the company that called you and the date they called. Third, join the millions of Americans who have registered their phone numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry. It's easy. You can register online at donotcall.gov. Be sure to complete the process by clicking the link in the confirmation email you receive. You can also call toll-free 1-888-382-1222 from the number you wish to register. And remember, although telemarketing scammers may seem friendly, they're anything but. They're trying to worm their way into your wallet. You can stop them by keeping your information to yourself, no matter how tempting the offer. Let's say goodbye to fraudulent telemarketers. Visit ftc.gov/phone fraud to learn more about how to recognize and report telemarketing fraud.
Okay, great information. So again, that's put out by the Federal Trade Commission. Now, here's what they said. Here's what you need to do is recognize that this is a fraud. So look for the warning signs. You know, people that are saying things that just are crazy. I've received these phone calls. I received a phone call saying, congratulations, you won the Canadian lottery. You just have to pay a processing fee. It's like, well, no, it was just so obvious that it was a fraud. So look for those warning signs. People are not going to give you money away. And remember, when you buy a lottery ticket, you give money. You don't give your personal information. So they have no way of really contacting you. So look for some of these warning signs. So recognize that this is fraud. Do not say yes. Now, they said that very quickly in there. Let me expand on that a little bit. If you're answering the phone, you're talking to somebody that you do not know who it is, take the word yes out of your vocabulary. They ask a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. What they're doing is they're recording the word yes, and there's the possibility that they will then dub it, paste it on the end of a different question. And when you protest, it's like, look at all these charges on my credit card. I did not approve those. It's like, sure you did. Let's show you the recording. And they play this recording where they have yes at the end of a question that they never asked you because they recorded it and dubbed it on the end. So when they call you and say, hello, is this so-and-so? It's like, how may I help you? That is my name. Avoid the word yes. Say, are you having a good day? No, I have to answer the phone and talk to you. I'm not having a good day. Or can you hear me? I can hear you. What do you want? Avoid using the word yes in all of these conversations. When you do find out that there is fraud, and hopefully you've not been a victim, but especially if you have become a victim, report it to the Federal Trade Commission at ftc.gov. And register your phone on the do not call list. That could be both a wired phone and a cell phone. Now, here's why you want to do that. That means that any of these calls that you get, you're automatically going to know that something's fishy. Legitimate telemarketers will check the do not call registry before they make any phone calls. So if you're getting a telemarketing call and you're on the do not call list, you already know that either it's a fraud or it's a telemarketer that's not doing what they should do and checking the list, which means you really shouldn't be dealing with them. So it won't stop a fraud call because the fraudsters don't care whether you're on there or not, but it will put an exclamation point behind your situation of why am I getting this call when I'm on the do not call list? Therefore, I should automatically be suspicious. And hang up the phone. Do not give money. Do not give information. Sometimes information is more valuable to them than money, because if they get enough information about you, they can get more money than you might send. Let's move on to identity theft. Now, this is kind of a big one. Let's go ahead and look at a little video vignette.
They said they had been to multiple exotic pet stores.
It's very easy for somebody just to steal my identity.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm a victim of identity theft. I was buying the just typical things about the road trip because I was going to travel. I first used my debit card and then I used my credit card, and both were being denied. So I called my bank. There was about $1,500 at a restaurant named Tecate in Chihuahua, Mexico, and around $500 was spent at a toy store. About $300 to $400 was taken for collect calls. You basically go through a process where you find yourself proving to yourself and to your bank that you are who you say you are. and that this was not you.
I was like working crazy hours for the holidays, and I worked like 70+ hours one week to try to maintain just a certain balance to get some gifts. I woke up Thursday and I had like $60 in my account, and as I'm calling my job, somebody in El Paso, Texas pumps $30 in gas. So it goes from 60 to $30 while I'm on the phone with the bank teller. It was like one of the worst holiday seasons I ever encountered thus far.
I got a call from my bank. Have you been buying a bunch of exotic pets? No, of course not.
Apparently somebody applied and got a home loan under my name when I was 3.
Butterfly fishes, a cockatoo, a Gila monster. They spent over $8,000.
I had a bank come after me when I was like 7 or 8, I feel. Oh, and then last year I had somebody steal internet and TV service from me.
About 7 years ago, I found out that my identity had been stolen. They had gotten a car in my name, $80,000. They got an apartment in my name in Chicago with all utilities, and they got, I believe, 4 credit cards totaling about $35,000. How can you get a car?
Last summer, I got my identity stolen by a man in Germany who purchased flights and stole my bank card and my bank numbers. A whole lifetime of identity theft.
I would definitely advise monitoring your credit.
Change your passwords regularly.
Protect your
Okay, so protect your stuff. Yeah, so whoa, $80,000 car. I don't even know what an $80,000 car looks like. So some of you may have seen the video that's online that I presented about credit reports. And I know that I have said to you over and over and over again that you need to check your credit report on a regular basis so that you can see if you've been the victim of somebody using your identity to get other loans, and it's just craziness. So that's one thing that you definitely need to do. It's scary. It is very scary out there. So what is identity theft? Identity theft is somebody wants to steal your personal information, your name, your address, your social security number, your driver's license number, your credit card number, any information they can find out about you. And with that information, they're going to try to steal your money out of your savings account, checking account, out of your credit cards, out of anything that they can access. They're going to go shopping, right? They're going to go shopping with your money. They're also going to try to use your identity to get other loans, like some of the scenarios that we just saw. They're going to try to get a car loan. They're going to try to get flights. They're going to try to get all sorts of things from other people using your identity, to where it's not necessarily stealing your money. It is using your identity to steal other people's money, and then they're going to want to come back to you for a payment. Or they're going to do other illegal actions in your name. Let me give you an example of that. Down in Bakersfield, not very far from us here in Fresno, down in Bakersfield, there was a lady. She had a very professional looking Facebook picture, and somebody decided they were going to use her name and her image to pretend that they are a real estate rental agency. And then they went and found the pictures of a home in Bakersfield, and they pretended that this person with this name is renting out this home. Now, some people who are looking to move, they might not be able to see the home in person if they're a long distance away, so they're looking online, and so they're giving first, last, down payment, etc., to move into this home. Multiple people showed up on the same day to move into a home that was already occupied, and it had nothing to do with this lady. So they're starting to contact the Bakersfield Police Department and say, okay, look, this lady scammed us out of our money. And so the police started looking for this lady, and she found out from some friends that the police were looking for her. She went in, she said, what are you guys talking about? And it wasn't her. She ended up hiring an attorney to help her prove that she was not the one that did this. So it's very scary. We need to do everything we can to protect ourselves. So here are some precautions that we can take for identity theft.
Identity theft happens. It's an unfortunate fact of modern life. But there are certain steps you can take to help keep your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. Every day you do things to protect what's most important to you. And you know what? You do them almost automatically. Routine things like looking both ways before you cross, brushing your teeth, and buckling your seatbelt. Another routine to get into is keeping tabs on your identity and personal information. Here are 5 easy ways you can do it. Read your credit card and bank statements carefully and often. Know your payment due dates. If a bill doesn't show up when you expect it, look into it. Read the statements from your health insurance plan. Make sure the claims paid match the care you got. Shred any documents with personal and financial information. Review each of your 3 credit reports at least once a year. It's easy and it's free. And before you know it, protecting your personal information can be as routine as locking your doors at night. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Okay, so let's review what they said here. So to protect yourself, read your credit card and account statements. I talk to people that they never open up their account statements. They never open up their credit card statement. Okay, well, how do you know that the purchases on there are yours? How do you know that the stores charged you the correct amount? How do you know anything if you don't look at your statement? You need to take a look at those. And are there any charges on there that are not legitimate? Know when your payments are due. So the concept here is if you're getting your statements in the mail, know when that is coming so that when your mail is delayed, you start to be suspicious. You start to look around. You start to call and find out, okay, why haven't I gotten my statement? I need to make a payment right about now. Now, I know that right now that's kind of a big question mark because the post office has announced that there's going to be more and more delays and there's going to be a slower delivery going forward. So we're going to have to figure out a new kind of time frame of when we think that our payments, our bills are late. So kind of hold on to that thought as we go forward in time. Read your health insurance statements. Now, this actually happened to me, and I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was fraud, but I have seen on my health insurance statement, there's huge charges, and they even said the patient's name. It wasn't my name, and all of their heart attack treatment. It's like, that wasn't me. And so I contacted them and they got that off there right away. My health insurance does not need to pay for somebody else's heart attack. Shred all your personal information. We have information overload, and even though we think that we've kind of gone to a paperless society, we really haven't. We have a ton of paper. What do you do when you need to get rid of that paper? Well, don't just throw it away. Make sure that it is shredded. People that are looking for the recyclables, the dumpster divers that are looking for the recyclables out of your bin before the garbage truck comes, most of them are legitimate. They really are looking for recyclables, but there are some that are not. What they're really looking for is your personal information, and you don't want to put it out there for them to find. Review all 3 of your credit reports every year. So there's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You need to review all 3 of those every year. Now, just a quick website for you, if you want to review all 3 of them by going to one website, is annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com. It's a great website. It's all 3 of those credit reporting agencies that banded together to make that website. So that's a great place to go and get those. And then limit what's in your purse or your wallet. That wasn't in the video, but I want to add it here because that's so important. What happens if somebody steals your purse or your wallet? How much information can they get about you? Think about all the things that are in your purse or your wallet. How many of those things do you need? How many of those things do you not need? So, hey, somebody in chat, can you put down what on this list that you're seeing here in front of you, what is something here that you probably do need? Go ahead and put an item or 2 that you probably should carry that with you. Put that in chat. And I'll move my chat over here where I can see it.
Driver's license.
Driver's license. That is the one item that you probably need to have with you most of the time, right? Okay, what are some things on this list that you probably should never carry with you? There's 2 on here that I can just like, nope, never, should never carry that with you.
Social security card, PIN
Social,
numbers.
yeah, you do not need to write your PIN number down. I've even seen people write it down on the back of their card. Don't do that. Social security card, you pretty much only need the physical card itself when you go to a job for the first day. They need to see the real card and they need to take a copy of it. Somebody put spare key. Back in the day, before we had all these key fobs, that lock and unlock your car. So I'm showing you how old I am. If you were to lock your keys in the car, it's like, okay, how am I going to get in there? So I did have a spare key in my wallet. But no more. I have not locked my keys in my car since we've gone to those key fobs. Yeah, so somebody said PIN, and the one right above it, your iPhone password. Are you going to write that down and keep it in your wallet? Please don't. My mother, who's no longer with us, had written down her password and taped it onto her phone. It's like, okay, don't lose your phone, Mom. Yeah, please don't. Yeah. Now, the other things on here, kind of your call, right? When do you need them? When don't you need them? Your medical ID cards, as an example. People say that you really only need those when you're headed to a doctor's appointment that is a planned visit. And I hear people all the time complain, it's like, no, but what if there's, I get in an accident or something, I need my medical ID card. Well, the law says that, if you show up with or without insurance, whether you are conscious or not conscious, even if they don't know who you are, they have to treat you. Now that gives you time to get a hold of somebody and tell them, go to my house, get my medical ID card so that we have it on file with the hospital. So you don't have to have that with you all the time. Now, I'm also going to tell you that there are some things on this list that I do have with me all the time, like my medical ID card. Not because I feel like I need it all the time, but because I don't know where I would have it if I didn't have it with me. And then I'm just disorganized. So you're going to have to decide for yourself. My social security card, I'm so rare that I need that. I know it's in the strong box, but you have to decide, what you have with you and what you don't have with you. Everybody's different, but remember, every item that you include in your wallet or your purse is increasing the risk if somebody steals your wallet or your purse.
Can we go back, Mike, to the previous slide? I think one of the questions was like, what do you look for when you're reading your bank statements or your reports? What?
Right. Anything that is not you. So when you're reading your credit card statement, it's like you should know where you use your credit card in the last month, which is what that statement is going to cover. A month is really easy to remember. And it's like, oh yeah, I did go there. Oh yeah, I did go there. Oh, that's why my balance on my credit card is so high. It's because I went to all those places. And the same thing with your account, your checking account, your savings account statement, you're looking there. If you're looking at your credit report is going to list every place that you have a loan or that you have had a loan recently. Now, when I say recently, it's over the last 7 years. Could be longer if it's still active, but anything that's closed off, anything within the last 7 years, you should be able to look through there and go, yes, I recognize that. No, I don't recognize that, and dispute the items that are not yours. Now, some of the items that get to a little dicey and that you might not know is if there's a medical emergency, because it's like, okay, I don't know this lab or this, because when you go to the hospital, boy, the bills just come from all sorts of places, not just the hospital, but from this lab that you've never heard of, and the ambulance and this therapist and so on and so forth. And so if those did not get paid by the insurance company, and they ended up going to collection agency, those are the kind of dicey items that you might not know. But if you've not had medical emergency, yeah, those shouldn't be on there. So yeah, anything that you do not recognize on your credit report, dispute. And there's a dispute form right online, the same place that you get your credit report. So for more information about that, go on to Fresno State's YouTube channel and take a look at the credit report, the Understanding Credit and Credit Report videos. So that will tell you tons of information as well. Okay, good question. Okay, a little trivia question here, or I should say, a little game. Let's see what you think. Someone stole your identity and is using it to fraudulently open loans in your name. How could they have obtained your identity information? A, dug through your garbage can to find old mail and personal information. B, through spyware on your computer. C, by stealing your information from a store where you have shopped. Or D, all of the above. Go ahead and put an answer, if each of you could put your answer in the chat. A, B, C, or D. All right, I see a whole lot of D's, all of the above. You are correct. Those ways and a lot of other ways. So let's talk about some of those and some other ways. So yes, they can dig through your garbage to look for your personal information. They steal your mail. So I do recommend that everybody has a locking mailbox. Now, does that prevent them from breaking the lock and getting in? Not necessarily, but it might slow them down enough to maybe just go someplace else. In my neighborhood, I have a locking mailbox. My mail has never been stolen. My neighbor to one side of me does not have a locking mailbox, and well, they do now, but when they didn't, their mail was stolen. People across the street from me, not a locking mailbox, their mail was stolen, yet mine was not. So they just look for the easy hits. Somebody pretends to be the lottery. So you saw the video on that, and you also heard me talk about, somebody called me and said, you won the Canadian lottery. And I thought, I didn't buy a Canadian lottery ticket. And they said, oh, there's all these ways that you're automatically entered, and you just need to pay to convert the money from Canadian dollars to American dollars. And it's like, actually, I knew it was a scam. I decided to play with her head a little bit, just because I had some time. And I said, hey, just take what I owe you out of what I won. If I won $15 million, which is what they said, just take what I owe you for the conversion fee out of what I won. Yeah, that didn't work. I didn't get the money. I'm still working. Shoulder surfing. Okay, that's when you're at the store and you're paying for your purchases and somebody is looking over your shoulder. They're looking to see your ID. They're looking to see your credit card or debit card number. They're looking to see your PIN number. They're looking to see anything that they can about you to try to steal your information. So when you're shopping, make sure that there's nobody back there looking over your shoulder, no shoulder surfers. Definitely also make sure that when you're at the ATM, there's no shoulder surfers because they might be looking to rob you. Now, when you're at the ATM, what you might not realize is almost all ATMs have a little mirror somewhere right close to eye level. Now, I know we're all different heights, so it might be a little bit below or a little bit above your eye level, but there are little mirrors so that you can see who's behind you without turning around. And so, yeah, use all of those reflective surfaces. Phishing with a PH, that is electronic, digital, over the internet or over text message phishing. They're trying to get information from you by sending you a text message or an email. And that message is some story. And it's a fake story, but they want to make it sound real. They'll say something like, hey, we are the company that you have a credit card with, and there's been some unusual activity. Therefore, we're going to shut off your credit card and we're going to freeze your accounts until you verify this information. And you're like, whoa, no, don't do that. I need to use my accounts. And so they're like, here's a link. Click on this link and fill out this information. Well, if you're filling out some information, you are giving your information to the crook, the fraudster, the thief. The other thing is when you're clicking on a link of somebody that you have absolutely no idea who they are, you're clicking on malware, spyware, worms, viruses. So yeah, you've just infected your computer. So a legitimate company will never send you an email like that. If they send you an email like that, it would be more along the lines of, come on into the store so we can get this resolved. Or another way that they steal your identity is they steal it from a business where you have done a transaction. So you went into some store, you did a transaction, you used your debit card or credit card, and then somebody broke into the database of that company and they stole your information. Can you protect yourself from that? No, you cannot. It is not within your ability to safeguard the database of that company. And pretty much every large chain store that you can think of, you know, just think about Fresno, think about all the stores that are like, you know, throughout California or throughout the country, name them. I can guarantee that they have probably been a victim of somebody breaking into their system and stealing customer information. Some of it's an inside job, you know, where, you know, somebody will get hired on just because they want to steal information, or somebody is bribed to get the information to give to somebody else. So what do you do here? Okay, since you can't protect yourself on that, what do you do? Well, you keep checking your statements, because let's say that you have a Macy's card, and all of a sudden things start showing up on your Macy's credit card statement, and it wasn't you. So you need to take a look at those statements. You need to take a look at your credit report. Those are the things, so that as soon as it happens, you know, and you eliminate it from continuing to happen. Because the bigger the mess, the bigger the mess. So it happened, now what? Contact your credit card company, the bank, the credit union, etc., whoever your card or the information is through. Go to identitytheft.gov, which is, again, a Federal Trade Commission website. So identitytheft.gov, they're going to give you a recovery plan, a list of things to do. Included in there is going to be a fraud alert to put on your credit report. So on your credit report, you can put a statement explaining that you've been a victim of fraud. And that means that every time somebody goes in to take a look at your credit report to decide whether or not to give a loan based on that credit report, they should be more careful, because there's a fraud alert on it. Okay, so they're going to ask more questions. They're going to verify more information. So when you go apply for a loan, don't be insulted that the credit union, as an example, asks you a ton of questions to verify who you are. They're trying to keep your information safe. They're trying to make sure that they don't give a loan to somebody that's pretending to be you. And if you have a fraud alert on there, you've asked us to do that. So keep that in mind. Get a copy of your credit report. Gosh, have I said that maybe 6 times now? And don't wait, don't procrastinate. Here's the thing, there's a time period for every type of dispute and dollar amount. And so, you know, I'm not going to go into the timeframes for all of these different types, but keep in mind that, for example, on your credit card, if you find out that somebody took money out of your credit card or out of your account by using the debit card numbers, you find out about it and tell us within the first 24 hours, gosh, you know, you're going to get all of your money back. You know, and the law says that if you tell us within a reasonable amount of time, that you're going to get everything other than $50 back. And Visa says, hey, even if it's in a reasonable amount of time, we're going to give you that $50 back too. But if you wait 6 months, we're going to go, there's nothing that we can legally do anymore. You've prevented us from being able to do anything just because you didn't tell us. So you've got to take a look at all of your statements, and you have to tell us as soon as possible. Don't wait, don't procrastinate. Okay, so let's look at a scenario analysis. And I want you to pick out the warning signs as we look at the scenario. Now you're thinking, what are the warning signs? I'm not trained in fraud. Well, anything that looks weird is a warning sign. Anything that is like, okay, that doesn't seem to be right. I don't know why it doesn't seem to be right. That's a warning sign. So here's some of the general principles to remember. If it's too good to be true, then it's too good to be true, right? It's a fraud. Free cheese, that's a Russian proverb. Where does a rat find free cheese? In a rat trap. If money is, so the lesson on free cheese is, somebody's giving you something for free, look for the trap. If money's going in both directions, or you have to pay money to get money, okay, there's a problem, because money shouldn't be going in both directions. Any get-rich-quick scheme, no negative consequences for bad actions, such as, hey, you don't have to pay the people that you owe money to. Just pay us a couple $100 and we'll get rid of all of them. No, it doesn't work that way. Something just doesn't seem right, or someone is trying to threaten you. These are the warning signs. Okay, so here's the scenario. Jimmy is a college student. He gets a surprise letter in the mail that informs him of a scholarship he needs to be, that he has been selected to receive. He did not expect it, but is excited to see there is a check for $4,350 included in the envelope. The instructions say to cash the check and use the money for legitimate school expenses. As soon as he, Jimmy, cashes the check, he is supposed to call the number listed on the letter. The company address on the letter is from New York, New York, and Jimmy sees that the return address on the front of the envelope is from someplace in Mississippi. He deposits the money and he calls the company. When he calls them, they inform him there is a small $50 processing fee he needs to send them. If he does not pay the processing fee, they will stop payment on the $4,350 check that he has already deposited. Okay, so somebody tell me in chat, what is a warning sign? What on here do you see that it's like, that doesn't seem to make sense? I'll give you a moment to put a thing or two in chat. Think of those general principles that we talked about. The processing fee, somebody put, yes. Why do you need to pay a processing fee? Why didn't they just keep it, right? And that goes along with money going in both directions. They're sending a check and then you have to send them money. Okay, why is money going in both directions? Yeah, anything else that people see? I know it's a lot to kind of digest there. Let me give you some items. Somebody put the returning address or the two different addresses. Yes, fraudsters do that. And it's really weird. They think it's going to cause them to not get caught. Well, it's a telltale sign that there's a problem here. So number one, surprise scholarship. Did not expect it. Yeah, those are not surprises. You apply for them. You have to fill out the paperwork. So a surprise scholarship is a big warning sign. Like you said, New York, Mississippi, and then the processing fee. So here's what happens. This $4,350 check, it's not a real check. It looks real, but there's no account behind it. So Jimmy deposits it. He sends them $50. He spends money on school expenses. 2 days later, the check comes back. It's like, whoop, nope, that's not legitimate. So that $4,350 is taken out of his account, plus a fee for having done that. So he's out all that money. He sent them the $50. He paid for other things with his real account. His account's now in the negative, probably $4,350 or more. So yeah, getting something for free, it's like, okay, I mean, how many of these signs did we see on there, right? Additional variations of this scheme is instead of asking for a personal check, they might ask you for a cashier's check, a certified check, a money order, money wire, or various types of MoneyGrams. Those MoneyGrams, that one is rampant right now. If somebody's saying, pay me in MoneyGram, yeah, run away. Something is wrong. Or some type of digital payment person to person. If it's a digital payment, it should be person to business and not person to person. There are more protections on the digital payment websites, platforms for person to business than there are person to person because they assume that you know the person. I spoke to somebody yesterday that lost some money going person to person because they were assumed to have known the person and they did not. Okay. I had mentioned at the beginning that there's a slide about fraud regarding COVID. So this was from the beginning of COVID until about a month ago. And what they did is all of the Federal Trade Commission data that they get that mentions anything about COVID or the stimulus that went along with COVID or PPP or all of those things that were all related to COVID and stimulus. How many scams have there been? Well, there's been over 619,000 scams in the year and a half, almost 2 years, with a loss of $582 million. So this is like scary stuff, guys. We don't want you to be a victim for anything. Now, this is a type of fraud that goes along with any disaster. So if there's an earthquake someplace, you'll see places that say, hey, donate to us so that we can help the people that are hurt by the earthquake. If you don't know that agency, don't give them money. You look on legitimate websites, like the Red Cross, Red Crescent, your churches' websites, other places that are legitimate aid agencies. So, okay, I know I've rushed through this. Let me just kind of give you a couple recaps on things. Every household needs a shredder, right? Please have a locking mailbox, if at all possible. I know if you're renting, it's not in your possibility, but if you are someplace where you have control over it, please have a locking mailbox. Know when your mail is supposed to come so that you can start worrying and start finding out if it doesn't come. When you're on the internet, please don't give all your information away. It's like you're just a willing person to be held up. And keep in mind that there is a difference between a website that starts with HTTP and one that starts with HTTPS. If you're shopping, it should have an S, okay? Because S is for secure. Now, the search engines such as Google and so forth, they are prioritizing the results on anything that you put out there. They are prioritizing websites that have an S on the end now. So it's really forcing companies to be stricter about their website protocols and ways that they're protecting people that are going to their website. So you're going to see the HTTPSs generally before you see the HTTP on your results. But please, if you're shopping, make sure that it's on with an S. Last thing, because I know that we're like out of time, you guys probably have to go to your next class. General principles to remember. Remember, if it's too good to be true, run away. Free cheese. Where does a rat find free cheese? In a rat trap. So they're trying to trap you with something free. Money's going in both directions, or you have to pay money to get money. Get rich quick schemes, no negative consequences for bad actions, or something just doesn't feel right. Okay, let me open it up for questions. I'd be glad to answer questions.
Okay. Yeah, that was a lot of good information, Mike. We really appreciate it. And all the different scenarios and videos that you provided are very valuable to the people listening. So, but yeah, if you have any questions, students, please, that are listening, put them in the chat. We can, why do people do this?
Why do thieves steal? It's a great question. I guess we're gonna have to go to some, moral authority and ask that question.
Yeah,
it's
so unfair. I know it's terrible, but
right.
It is.
And they're good at it.
Yes,
this is
they
like
are.
their full-time job. They're good at it. They know what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah, well, we're still looking at the chat. So anybody wants to reach out, let's see. No. Okay. Well, while people are thinking, maybe what I'll do is I'll just mention that, the Money Management Center at Fresno State, we're open to students coming in and talking about a variety of different financial topics that Mike mentioned today as well. And we do have our information on our YouTube channel that was mentioned, but you can come to our office and we can sit down with you one-on-one. We have Bulldog financial coaches who are student peers trained in education information about various financial topics that are relevant to students. So come on by anytime, Monday through Friday. We're located at the Frank W. Thomas Building, room 104 actually. And so you can come in and make an appointment with one of the Bulldog financial coaches. Also on our website for fresnostate.edu/money center, we actually have a system that we subscribe to, which has a legitimate information on all the various topics related to credit card, credit score, savings, fraud prevention. Maybe you want to buy a house, a car, and various tools and things. It's called Unleashed, the site that if you type in Fresno State Unleashed, you'll be able to access that as well, and just put your Fresno State student credentials and you'll be able to access that as well. So well, it doesn't look like anyone has any questions, Mike. So you did a great job. So thank you.
If any of you are part of groups on campus or off campus that would like a guest speaker, Educational Employees Credit Union, my employer, is glad to provide guest speaking fraternities, community groups, other, non-Fresno State groups, we're glad to help. So just give us a ring.
Okay. Well, yeah. And then another thing too, I just thought about, everyone, is that, for those of you who are registering right now, it's class registration happening right now. For those of you looking for a class that's kind of on personal financial literacy, there's a GE course called Finance 30. It's on personal financial planning. And you're going to learn all the tips and everything through an actual curriculum for this semester. So it's a GE course that's, a lot for everybody to access. So if you want to take that class, that'd be awesome to do as well. So look for it. It's called Finance 30. It's a general ed course in the GE plan for those of you who are registering still and looking for classes to fill. All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for being here today. And we thank everyone for listening to Mike Jones from EECU. And everyone have a great day. Thank you.